1880, wow.
On February 25th.
1880, that was during the Canada-US war? No?
No,
Of course
it
that,
was just...
my history is a little bit off.
It would have been not long after Confederation.
Oh, okay.
We were part of Canada by then.
Yes.
But no, it was no specific date.
So usually around the time when PEI joined
PEI joined in 1873.
1873, so that was a couple years before then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
a couple of years after.
after that, okay. Let me see, so 18, so that would be 1880 would be during when Manitoba and Saskatchewan joined the...
I'm not sure the exact date when they joined.
Right. I believe Manitoba was 1949.
That's Newfoundland.
Newfoundland, already. Okay.
Honorable Graydon Nicholas, he hasn't chosen an artist yet.
Oh, really?
So the person before him would have been, and he chose his artist. It took 4 years before he did choose an artist.
Wow.
So it's Trenholm
Yes.
Council.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so she was prior to Herménégilde-Jasson, Hector of the Trojan War,
Oh.
but now he's not really Hector. We just name him that.
Okay, why Hector though?
Just because the movie Troy came out.
And his name was Hector?
And we decided to name him Hector. He's
Okay.
actually Perseus, because Perseus is the one who slayed Medusa.
Yes.
So you have.
Is he was like a Greek soldier?
Exactly.
Okay.
So he slayed Medusa in Greek mythology.
Okay.
And so supposed to be Perseus, but.
Right. I don't know too much. I haven't seen the movie, so I gotta
Okay.
take a look at it.
Yeah, we just name him that.
Okay.
Affectionately.
Perfect. Yes.
Now, this is the one place in this whole building where people throw themselves at my feet.
Oh, really?
They'll actually kneel before me,
Oh, wow.
or they'll lay down before me.
Oh,
You know why?
why?
Because this is where they film, where they take photographs.
The divine.
Look up.
It's okay. I was
Now you see why the person would lay down before me.
right. Yes. Oh, wow.
And rods to support the structure.
I wonder how they built this, though.
This is a very unique design. It is a self-support.
If they want a cheap, something cheap at Staples for $300, they can get that. Not the ones I ordered. If we get like an all-in-one,
And then the speaker would be seated there when the house is sitting, and he has to ensure that everybody obeys the rules. But you see the books on that table way over there?
Oh.
We just didn't put them up. We waited for the new building.
Okay.
Now, where I learned that is a new building by 1882, and then we put electricity in them in 1905 because they were natural gas fixtures.
Okay.
But the early light bulbs used to burn out very quickly.
Oh, okay.
So we devised a system to lower the chandeliers and bring them back up again. And that was a winch mechanism up in our attic.
Okay.
Now the winch mechanism, the old one, was a handle with a wheel and the wire wrapped around it. The wire goes down the tube and ties to the chandelier. Well, we used that old-fashioned winch for 96 years.
Wow.
When we finally decided to get a brand new one in 2001, we got a hydraulic one.
Wow.
One-hand operation.
Yes.
Yes, so much easier. You don't feel the weight because these things weigh 200 to 300 kilos each.
Right.
So, one-hand operation, and you do not feel the weight.
Wow.
We got to use them for the first time in 2002. We lowered the chandeliers. We cleaned all 592 pieces of crystal on each one.
Really? Wow.
We finished up on November 8th, 2002. Friday morning, 8:45 in the morning, they go up to the attic and they start to wind the chandelier up.
Oh, okay.
Now, the new winch mechanism works the same way. You have a handle, you have a wheel, and the wire wrapped around it. And before the wire goes down the tube, it goes through one cylinder with prongs hanging down, and that cylinder is attached to the ceiling. Then it goes through another one, Then the wire goes down the tube and ties to the chandelier at the bottom, so that when you're winding it, you're actually pulling one piece against the other to lock it in place. November 8th, 8:45 in the morning, on a Friday morning, they go and they start to wind up that very first chandelier, and up that chandelier goes, locks into place, everything's perfect. Go over to the second one, they start to wind that one up, and up it goes, but at the last minute, it's shifted. And the parts that are supposed to interlock were actually hitting into each other, and we're not locking. But the person who's winding it doesn't feel the weight, doesn't feel the resistance, keeps on winding it tighter and tighter and tighter till the wire goes plop. Our beautiful chandelier crashed to the floor.
And that caused a fire?
No.
Oh, no.
Didn't cause a fire. No, that was in 2002.
Okay.
So, but what, 17,
Yeah.
18 years ago. So,
Okay, I thought we were born in 18.
17 years ago.
That's 17 years ago, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then we had 3 options of what we could do. First option was buy a new one. That's the most obvious one. The conservator runs into my office and says, Diane, I know where you ordered those chandeliers back in 1879. I said, oh, 1879? How interesting. I took that down in my notes. She says, yes, you ordered them in 1879 from Mitchell, Vance and Company in New York City, and you know what? They're still there. I'll give them a call. So she calls them up and she says, have you got another one? No, of course not. We had to try. Second option was replace both because we want them to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to cost us the better part of $1 million.
Wow.
Third option, fix it. And that's what we did. It took us 21 months to build this building. It took us 2.5 years to fix that chandelier.
Wow.
And that's because we had to shop all over the world for the crystal. The small spears, they still make those in the US and the Carolinas.
Really? Wow.
The longer spears, nobody makes them anymore. So they had to go to Waterford, Ireland, Waterford Crystal,
Yes.
and they had to build the molds for them and make them one at a time for us.
In the UK or Ireland or?
In Ireland.
Wow.
Yes. And we were very lucky because we got some actual antique ones on eBay.
Right.
And we know they're antique because there's a chemical reaction that happens within the glass that makes them turn smoky in color with age.
Wow.
It burned down, so that photo was taken in 1879 actually. And then this one, 1882. And Fredericton has been renowned to have a few floods. So we've had a big one in 1887. We had another one in 1936. And as you can see here, they're going down the street with canoe.
Wow.
And that's one of our buildings. 1973, the flood actually filled our basement full of water.
Yes.
And then in 2002, we're going to hop right over there. This is the chandelier falling.
Okay.
So down it comes. Our security camera picked it up. Down it comes from a different camera. Here comes security, and I was behind security here.
Okay.
And that is the damage. Antique crystals and new ones. And then they're rewiring the chandeliers, putting all the crystals back on. And then they raise it up with cables to keep it from swinging like a pendulum so more crystals don't hit together and break off.
Right.
So, but that is the damage that happened here.
Wow.
And then we had a little visitor here in 2007 in one of our buildings. And there we go, only in New Brunswick. So every province has its own mace, including Ottawa for federal government. And it's the symbol of the authority of the speaker in the